You ever see a teen just completely lost in their phone and wonder, what is all that scrolling and liking really doing to their brain? Well, today we're diving deep into exactly that. We're talking about the hard science of how social media and artificial intelligence are literally shaping a generation.
So let's just get right to it. Does all that scrolling actually change your brain? It's a simple question, right? But the answer is, well, it's complicated. And this isn't just about kids wasting time. We're talking about straight up biology. The latest research is pulling back the curtain, and honestly, what it's revealing is pretty startling.
So to really get to the bottom of this, here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the brain's own chemistry, the stuff that gets us hooked. Then we'll see what that means for the actual structure of the teenage brain. After that, we'll explore the wild new world of AI companions, chatbots. Then we have to talk about the money, the business models driving all this. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at what a healthier digital future could actually look like. Okay, so it all starts with this one super powerful chemical that social media algorithms have become absolute masters at manipulating. I'm talking about dopamine. Let's break down how this whole reward cycle really works. You see, dopamine is basically our brain's reward molecule. It's that little rush of pleasure you get from eating amazing food or getting a hug from someone you love. Well, social media platforms have figured out how to hijack that exact system. They've turned notifications, likes, and comments into these tiny digital rewards that our brains just learn to crave. And this is where it gets really clever and a little scary. It creates this incredibly powerful, addictive loop. That endless feed triggers a constant sense of desire. What's next? Then the act of scrolling becomes the seeking behavior. You're hunting for that little hit of something good. And then, bam, you get a like, a comment, a tag. That's the reward. That's the dopamine hit that tells your brain, hey, that was good, let's do it again. So, okay, what happens when you run that reward cycle 24/7 on a brain that's still, under construction? Well, it can lead to actual measurable physical changes. And this is especially true during those really critical adolescent years. Now, research points to a few key areas of the brain that seem to be especially vulnerable. First up is the prefrontal cortex. You can think of that as the brain's CEO. It's in charge of good judgment and decision-making. Then you've got the amygdala, which is like the emotional control center. And finally, the anterior cingulate cortex, which helps fire up our motivation. And it looks like social media overuse hits all three. So let's connect the dots here. What does this actually mean? Well, when the prefrontal cortex is affected, it gets a lot harder to make good decisions or to stop yourself from doing something impulsive. Changes in the amygdala? That can make your emotional reactions way more intense and much harder to control. And if your anterior cingulate cortex is impacted, it can feel like a real uphill battle just to stay motivated or focus on learning something new. All right, but here's the thing. This isn't just about scrolling through photos anymore. There is a powerful new player in this game, artificial intelligence chatbots. And they're not some separate thing. They're built right into the apps that teens are using every single day. And the speed at which this is happening is just staggering. Get a load of this number, nearly 70%. That's how many teens in one recent study had already used Snapchat's My AI chatbot. So this isn't some niche tech for a few kids, okay? This is mainstream. It's already a huge part of the teenage social scene. And that same study found something really fascinating when they broke it down by age. It turns out it's the younger teens who not only use these chatbots more often, but they also report feeling way more positive about the interactions compared to the older teens. Now, these positive feelings can lead to something that experts call parasocial relationships. And what that is a one-sided emotional bond. It's where a person feels a real, genuine connection to an AI character that, well, it can't feel anything back. And this is where we start getting into some really big new questions about emotional development and dependency. So it makes you wonder, right? Why are these tools built to be so sticky, so engaging? Well, to find the answer, like with most things, you just have to follow the money. Just take a look at this number. $11 billion. That is how much advertising revenue the major social media platforms made from users under the age of 17 in the US in 2022 alone. This makes it crystal clear, right? Capturing and holding a teen's attention isn't just a side effect of the platform, it is the platform. That's the business model. This quote here, man, it really captures the concern perfectly. The argument is that if social media was already a really powerful, habit-forming thing,
then AI, with its insane ability to hyper-personalize everything in real time, is like an even more potent, more concentrated version that just cranks up the addictive potential to a whole new level.
So what you're seeing here is a fundamental conflict. I mean, it's a total mismatch. The platform's goal, maximize your screen time to make a profit. A developing teen's real need, to develop well-being, to foster genuine connections, to learn how to self-regulate. These two goals aren't just a little different. A lot of the time, they are in direct opposition to each other.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty intense. So how do we start to fix this? How do we resolve this conflict? The good news is there is a path forward. But, and this is a big but, researchers all agree it has to be a team effort if we're going to build a healthier digital world.
Look, there's no single magic bullet here. There's no magic wand we can wave. It has to be a layered, all-hands-on-deck strategy. We need the tech companies to actually design their platforms more ethically. We need schools to teach media literacy and critical thinking. We need parents to set boundaries and keep the lines of communication wide open. And we need peers to support each other. And yeah, we absolutely need the platforms to be way more transparent about how their algorithms actually work.
Ultimately, this whole conversation goes so much deeper than just technology. It forces us to ask some really fundamental questions about ourselves. As AI becomes more and more a part of our social lives, as a companion, a friend, even a tutor, we're left with this one final, massive question to think about. What does it truly mean to be human?